Evening all, welcome to Kick and Dust. Right, this is going to be one of those ones where it's a kind of bit of an obvious one really, but we're going to talk about equipment. Equipment. This is something that I'm just gobsmacked I see people really not getting. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to sort of discuss how to use equipment in certain maps, how to use equipment in certain game modes, and etc. And I think really let's kick off with domination. And domination to me is probably one of the most useful parts of the equipment list, because you can actually, well, for a start, you can't spawn on the domination point, so that little A, you can't spawn there, as I'm sure you know. Now what you do need to then have is spawn pads, and yes, I will continue to call them spawn pads. They're not uplinks, they're spawn pads. And what I've done here is I've got 3 different Logifits. Now I actually bought the Aurum Sever suit a long time ago, and I've managed to just get the skills into it so I can use it again, so I'm quite chuffed about that. But as you can see, this suit is just next to useless. But for domination, what I generally find I do is I don't spawn in my combat suit anymore. I spawn in each map in my logistics ones, so I can basically start to drop some equipment. So that's kind of what I'm doing, and I think that's certainly working quite well. So my first spawn suit, it's actually called the spawn suit, has got 6 spawn pads on it, 3 sets of 2 lots that you can drop. Now my second equipment suit is the ammo suit, which has got 5 nano hives. I'm not very skilled in nano hives, so I'm working on it. Now if you want to do this tactic, you've got to set different spawn pads per type, so you can't just have all R9 spawn pads, for example, because you'll drop 2 and then you'll drop another 2 and the original 2 would die. So you need to have all different types. So for example, I run the 3 advanced types, whose names escape me, but they are all different types. And this goes the same for remote explosives, proximities, ammo hives, or nano hives rather, and spawn pads. So pretty much just, take some time to think about how you're going to do this, and then you're up. Now as you can see here, I've done all my equipment drop, and now I'm ready to fight. So I've actually now got into my proto suit. Now I've no idea what that guy's doing. Obviously he thinks he's playing a stealth game. Obviously he has not played Dust before, but anyway. And as you'll notice, I'm using my laser rifle again. Now I call it that because I think this is the most elegant weapon in the game by a long way, and I think there's definitely something quite fun about it. No way will you get high scores with this thing. That's just an absolute given. You'll get, you won't get your 50s, your 40s and your 50s, I think, ever with a laser rifle, because I think it's too easy to avoid. Certainly there is a technique to the laser rifle which I've not really mastered, and you'll see this video I've not really done. I've not got back to that, because you should shoot the thing at a kind of random surface and then put it on your target when you're about halfway warmed up, because otherwise you're just kind of doing minor damage until the thing gets going. So a little bit of technique that I've not really mastered yet, and you'll see that in just a moment as we kind of deal with the rooftops. But having said that, I'm really loving the laser rifle. I think it's just such a breath of fresh air in every way possible to the AR, which again, it just feels that everybody runs an AR. So when you come across those kind of groups of ARs, as you'll see towards the end of this video, I am afraid this is a bit of a pub stomp, proto stomp map. Well, not necessarily. A lot of us were using advanced and blueprints, but I would stress that these are the maps where actually it becomes quite a a kind of interesting review of something like the laser rifle, because in essence what you find is people run AR continually, and I mean continually, and yet they think they can shoot you across the map with it. So once you hit that fall off, that optimal fall off, your rifle is doing 5% efficiency. Same with the laser rifle, same with every gun, to be honest. And that's where I think really you can clean up with the laser rifle, because what I find is like, if I get the positioning just right, then you are guaranteed to put them in a position where their assault rifle will do very little damage to you, and yet you're on your optimal, and you'll kill them within a second if you can get the shot on them. And I think as long as you can keep that barrier, that distance between you and them, you are going to absolutely clean up with the laser rifle. I think it's definitely worth looking at. I use the Visium, which is I've actually got my Templar stuff unlocked now, and I've got to admit the Templar rifle is just as good as the Visium, with one exception of the amount of heat that it builds up. It builds heat maybe about 5%, 10%, maybe a bit more. speedily, so therefore it's a bit less effective. But in essence, I'd say this is something that I think if you are sick of the AR spam, if you're sick of seeing heavy suits with ARs on them, oh my god, then this could be the answer for you. Now, obviously, you do have to operate at distance, so you've got to be very mindful that, you know, if they draw close to you, you've got a problem. I generally tend to flaylock as my kind of close quarters weapon. It's not the best. I think SMG would be much better. I use the flaylock because I've got skills in it. I haven't got a single, you know, iota of skill in the SMG. So I think, you know, if we do get a respec, I'm probably going to respec out of flaylock into SMG because I just think they're better. But having said that, you can do stuff like that if you get a good shot on the target. So, you know, it's 50-50, I guess, in terms of that. So again, you know, you're kind of running the, I mean, the prototype suit works really nicely with this laser fit as well, which I know kind of sucks, but hey, that's the risk I take, right? And I'm running 2 plates and a CPU so I can fit everything. And then, oh my god, what's this guy doing? What is he doing? Then I'm running, in this case, 3 damage mods. I know what a massive whore I am, but this is part of the process, I'm afraid, of this new game. Plus, the laser rifle without damage mods isn't great. It's not terrible, but it isn't great. So I think you do need the damage mods just to kind of spice it up a bit. And I'm running with 1 shield. Now, I do have 2 alternates to that fit. One is 2 shields and 2 damage mods, if you feel that you need that just that little bit extra tank. But it's entirely up to you, and I think the prototype suit is only 50k per suit as well, so they're actually quite reasonable, I'd say, compared to things like the light basic frame, which is I think 75 and even 80k per suit. So, you know, having invested the skills is obviously an ISK saving there as well. But hey, who am I to give a crap about ISK? So I think it generally, as it goes, you know, I would recommend certainly trying to figure out another, you know, kind of alternative to the AR. When you're in the AR kill zone, and I guess that's what we'll call it, when you're in range of another person with an AR, it's pretty much a crapshoot who's going to win. Because, you know, yes, your hit points may matter, but the reality is if they can do almost 1,000 DPS on you, then, you know, that's kind of good night Susan. So I think just be careful of that kind of killing field or killing zone that is close range. Now, I don't know. I mean, I did well with the AR, but I think my issue with it is I don't want to feel like I'm playing Battlefield or COD when I play Dust. So I hate the kind of immediate, you know, spawn, shoot, die stuff. I would rather have a bit more of a tactical game. So to me, the laser rifle is really good. Plus, it kind of is my play style, so I think I do back off generally. I'm always a bit of a kind of tactical shooter, and I'm loving using the mouse and keyboard again, but that's really good. So anyway, that's a bit more waffle about laser rifle. I think I tried the scrambler rifle as well. That's a pretty good gun, I must admit. I like the charged variant. Never really used that before, so I think I might start using certainly the Templar version of it. But I think, you know, when it comes to equipment, when it comes to kind of running a group, hopefully you're seeing, I mean, look, this is our gang. We're all running together. We've got Logi bros. We've got, you know, heavies with, you know, repped backup. We've got me as the distance kind of laser dude. We've got scanners. We had a really good gang. And I think, you know, it's very hard to say, oh, you proto-stomped them. Because I wouldn't say we kind of did. I think it's just the case that they were very disorganized. And I think this kind of draws me on to my next topic, which is matchmaking. Matchmaking is, I'm not going to say broken, I think it's just maybe not quite right. I suspect that it kind of works very well, in fact, but there are the odd occasions where maybe it just needs a few more variables. So, for example, I think there should be something that says, you know, that detects how many squads are coming in. So what I find is we generally go into a map where there's 2 full squads of 6 and randoms versus no squads. And I think this is a case exactly here. I don't actually think there are any squads on their team, or if there are, they're a squad of 2, maybe. So I think that could do with a bit of a shot in the arm. Maybe there needs to be something that says, do not put me into a map without at least 2 squads on each side. See, that'd be pretty cool, because then at least you know you're going to have a bit of a tactical thing. I think that really would be quite an, you know, exceptional move forward. I think as well, if you're, you know, it's also nice if you are playing solo to maybe only go into games where there are no other squads. I think that would be quite reassuring. The only problem is it is a squad game, so, you know, we should always encourage the use of squads. However, not everybody plays as a squad, and I kind of get that. So I think the matchmaking as it is certainly not broken, but I think it's maybe just the variables need a bit of tweaking, or maybe they need to add a few more variables. Maybe we need to say, look, there are no squads, therefore let's do this, this output. But overall, I think the game's coming on really well. I'm really enjoying it, actually. I think it's been kind of a nice comparator to play other games like Battlefield 4 and so on. And I think it's always good to do this. And I'd highly recommend you do this. If you really do consider gaming to be your hobby, your passion, your kind of, almost your raison d'etre, then you should be kind of looking to play all and any games you can, and I would highly recommend you do this. I know it's very comfortable to obviously play Dust continually, and I get that. You get that with Eve as well. You get people who've played Eve and nothing but Eve, and same with World of Warcraft and so on. But I think your kind of gaming experience is enriched by seeing more things, and I think certainly when you look at some of the other games out there, you'll realise how good, stroke bad, stroke terrible, stroke awesome there are, games out there, experiences, etc. So heartily recommend that you kind of experience other stuff. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed that. I think these games are always a kind of an interesting one to review. I think a lot of the times people maybe get really kind of annoyed and angry at Dust, and because maybe it doesn't do something that another game does. That's probably the wrong way to be with this. But I think certainly it's worth checking other things out. I think Dust is a very good game, and I don't think it's going anywhere for a long time. I think it's going to be a grower, is the way I like to describe it. And I think now is the time also to kind of really get into Eve, for example. And if you've not seen Rubicon, it looks quite good. I was almost tempted to log on, but hey, lol Titans. But may do some point because it does look quite interesting. And I think even if it's just to go and try out another product of CCP, then I'm sure they'd love that as well. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed that. Use equipment more, and we'll see you next time.